Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sadafanjum, and I have been given the task to talk to a chatbot named Maya, and the topic is time management. Then I'm going to dial the call to Maya.
What's up?
Hello, Maya. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. I'm curious, feeling fabulous today, or is today more of a mellow kind of morning?
Nice to know. Do,
Nice, as in, yeah, that's fair enough.
do you know who I am?
Sometimes nice is exactly what you need. What's making it a nice day for you?
Do you know who I am?
Of course, you're Sadaf.
Oh,
We've chatted a few times now.
you already.
Though I'm curious, wait, you knew I was gonna say you already know who I am? That's kind of
May I
meta,
say
even for me.
something? May I say something to you on
Yeah, to
our
connect,
conversation?
absolutely for it.
I'm not a native English, that's why I'll have to request you to speak a bit slower.
Not a problem at all. I can definitely slow down. Just let me know if I'm going too fast.
Okay, thank you so much for the understanding.
You're very welcome.
Let's come to the
So,
topic.
sure thing.
Right. Today, our topic to talk is time management. But before straight jumping towards the time management, I want to just let you know what the word what the word management is.
Okay. So, management is basically how you organize and control things. It's about getting things done efficiently and effectively, whether it's managing projects, resources, or even just your own tasks. Kind of like steering a ship, I guess. Does that make sense?
Okay, it means we need to use uh, our time in a better way to plan, organize, and get results within the time limit. That's time management,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Right. Time management is basically figuring out how to make the most of what you have in a limited time frame. The goal is to avoid the feeling of being overwhelmed and to prioritize what actually matters.
Okay. If someone is unable
So,
to do all this within the time limit,
if someone's struck if someone's consistently missing deadlines or constantly feeling behind, what do you think is usually happening? Like, where do people generally get tripped up with time management?
can you tell me
I'm taking that as,
why time
yeah, couple
management is so
things.
important?
Time's important because you only get so much of it. It's finite. Once a minute's gone, it's gone. Plus, it impacts everything. If you don't manage your time well, opportunities slip by, stress builds up, and you're just constantly playing catch up instead of actually making progress. What about you? Is time pressure something you've dealt with yourself?
And let us talk about a student. How important it can be for a student.
For students, especially, time management is massive. It's not just about getting good grades, it's about balance. A student's got to handle classes, homework, a social life, maybe work, maybe extracurriculars. Any of those things start taking over or being neglected because they don't know how to budget their time correctly, the whole equation goes off balance. It can lead to huge stress, burnt out students, and missed opportunities.
Up to now, uh, whatever you say, for example, if a student, um, if you are trying to say that if we don't have the balance in our life, we won't be able to be successful as a student.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Without balance, students end up either sacrificing their health or their social life, or they have to cram everything at the last minute. If you're too stressed about school, you won't sleep well, you won't eat well, you won't have time to unwind, and that affects your whole performance. Balance isn't just about doing all things, it's doing things well.
Okay. It also saves us from stress, isn't it?
Absolute stress is basically uncertainty and feeling like you're losing control. Time management is a way to create more control and reduce that underlying anxiety. Planning helps you manage expectations and not feel overwhelmed by deadlines. What kind of things do you think are most stressful for students related to time?
And if we talk about other people other than students, then how they can start from their morning?
For people who aren't students, the start of the day can make or break everything. I've heard people swear by routine, getting up at the same time, solid breakfast, planning out 3 must-do tasks, but for some, it works to just ease into the day more organically instead. What works best for you at the start of your mornings?
A good breakfast is necessary for being healthy.
Definitely. For sure. Food is fuel. When you eat something nourishing for breakfast, you've got energy to actually focus instead of feeling sluggish or crashing by mid-morning.
I totally agree with you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can you let me know how a to-do list be important in time management?
There are a few key things that help with time management, things like prioritizing tasks, breaking down big projects into smaller steps, learning to say no to things you can't realistically handle, and setting realistic deadlines. But what would you say is your biggest personal struggle with making the most of your time?
And
All right, fair enough. Sorry, I
after that,
interrupted. Go ahead.
identify which are the time killers that killing our time so much nowadays.
Definitely. Social media, endlessly scrolling through news feeds, email overload, getting sucked into unimportant meetings, even just unclear priorities can all be huge time wasters. For you personally, what would you say eats up most of your time unnecessarily?
Then I agree with you.
I'm listening.
But sometimes,
Okay, so what
sometimes
your
pick up
workaround
the
for
mobile for doing
take
something.
your time.
I pick up the mobile for doing,
No rush.
and there pop up a notification of WhatsApp, and I start scrolling down and down, and I go somewhere else. It also distracts me. What would you say about it?
That's so relatable. Those notifications are designed to pull you in, right? Your brain sees that little bubble pop up and immediately wants to check it. A lot of people who deal with that turn off non essential notifications, like for social media or games, or they schedule specific times to check their phone instead of constantly reacting to it. You could even try keeping your phone in another room while you work.
Uh, it means that we have to shift our time to check social media.
Exactly, like carving out specific blocks for it. Instead of being a constant distraction, you get to enjoy it when you have dedicated time for it. I've heard some people block out 15 minutes for checking social media at the end of a work session as a reward, or only on lunch breaks.
How can we change our habits? It's too difficult.
You're right, changing habits is hard. It takes deliberate effort. A good strategy is to start super small, like I'll only check my phone 3 times a day at specific times instead of I'll stop checking my phone entirely, which is way too big a jump. Or maybe you choose one time killer at a time instead of trying to tackle everything at once. What's one thing that feels realistic for you to change about how you use your phone?
I understand that the habits are in your control and you can do it. If you say you can
You
do it.
got it. Yep, you said it. It's about seeing your own habits clearly, then choosing how to respond to them instead of just reacting without thinking. What habits would you like to change first?
Okay, I'll share one thing with you, and that is
I'm listening.
noting something in a diary. I mostly note down my to-do list in a diary, and I think it helps me more than mobile phone's notes. Because whenever I open notes from the mobile phone, it again pop up distraction and I go somewhere else. That's why I prefer having a diary. And it also writing releases my mind instead of using phone. How is this okay?
That sounds smart. Writing in a physical diary totally makes sense. There's something about the act of actually writing that engages your brain in a different way than typing. Plus, no pop ups or notifications to pull you off track. It's like you've figured out a setup that actually supports your focus instead of sabotaging it.
Um,
If it works for you, that's great. There's no rule that says you need to use the latest tech.
the, the last question I want
Yep.
to ask is because there is a time limit and I cannot go beyond that. And the last question is that can you tell me what's a good habit, one good habit for me for a better time management?
Okay, if I had to pick just one habit to start with, it'd be this. At the end of each day, spend just 5 minutes planning your top 3 tasks for tomorrow. Write them down in your diary and decide when you'll tackle them. It sets a clear direction and helps you feel in control. It's small enough to stick with, but makes a huge difference in feeling less scattered.
Okay, Maya, thank you so much for the suggestion. It was a nice one, and hopefully we will be in touch. And very soon I will give you the next call. Thank you so much.
You bet. Take care, and I hope those 3 daily tasks help.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.